Hey everybody, good afternoon, good morning. I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but welcome to Making Math Different Part 3. I'm Scott Cropper. I teach 8th grade math at Eastern Middle School. This is my third year doing this one, and this one definitely looks a lot different than the past two. So I'm sitting in my room here on a Friday at Eastern Middle School recording this thing, and not in front of a group of fellow teachers. So bear with me. I hope you get a lot out of this. And it's definitely going to look a little different, but we're going to try to have some fun with it. And I'm glad you chose this session. So here we go. Obviously, with the whole coronavirus pandemic going on, we haven't got to travel a whole lot. And I thought it'd be nice to maybe look at where could our next travel destination be. So, a chance for us to get out of the house finally and let's go traveling to some exotic locations and see what happens. So I'm going to walk you through it. Enjoy. So hopefully you get to go someplace exciting and warm as we head into the winter season. Or if you're a cold favorite person, maybe you'll get someplace nice and cool. So the way it's going to start is pick a number between 1 and 9. Whatever number you want, multiply that by 3. And then add 3. And then multiply by 3 again. So you should be at a 2-digit number. So add those 2 digits together. And once you have those 2 digits added together, that's going to tell you where your next fantastic traveling destination will be. So take a look over there on the right. Got a lot of fabulous places to go and head to. So hopefully you find your dream destination and you get to go there soon. So anyway, a little bit of fun, get you started off. If you can't laugh at this stuff, it's just all kind of crazy out there, a little weird out there. All right, so on to a little bit more serious stuff here. And I thought this would be the best place to start with. This website's called pdf2go.com. And what this is this is a place for you that can edit any PDF. And I know with possibility of switching to virtual learning at any time, or I know we just got out of that quarantine virtual learning, a lot of stuff that we have is we use a lot of PDF files. So you can convert to PDF, you can convert out of PDF, so you can edit things. This website is all free, so that's probably the best thing that it has out of it. It's all free. I mean, obviously you can sign in and log in. And there is some pricing, but everything else is all free. You can edit in them, you can upload a PDF, take things out, move things in. I really like the PDF to Word. That way I can edit it clear. I like to add things in. Maybe I want to pull something from one into another one and move it around that way. So this is actually a very useful tool for any kind of PDF files that you might want to edit or change, things like that. And like I said, that one's all free. So I try to find stuff that is free, so that way you can go right in and start using it. So, I'm not going to talk about a lot of these very long, because at the end I'll show you where you can find the links to all this stuff, and you can get in, click around, play around, see how you might use that. So I'm not going to do a full comprehensive tour of all these websites. I want to try to leave some time at the end so you can play around with them. So the next one we have on here is Padlet.com. I like Padlet because it's a great place for students to kind of have a discussion, especially if you're doing it over the computers. What it does is it's free, obviously, but what you can do is you can create discussion boards, start things. Now it says try free for 30 days. That's the more secure version, but you can do a free one. Obviously you have to sign up with Google and all that good stuff. But anyway, start a discussion, post a topic. Kids can post below. They can post pictures. They can do flow charts. A lot of different options with this. So maybe it's something that you see and you're like, I don't know how I could use it with math, but I think English might want to use this or something like that. And feel free to share it with anybody. Go in, click around, play around with it. It's something that's very unique. I like to use it. I used it a little bit back in quarantine, where I put a discussion topic or something like that and say, okay, find some information that we can use, or look for some data out there, and kids posted different things that they found, and it all just comes up in a nice organized way. So that's Padlet.com. All right. moving on to the next one. PDF filler, what this is online graph paper form. So if you're maybe higher ed, this is something where kids have graph paper that they can edit online and have access to that, also free. And what that looks like, you have different types of things. You have coordinate plane online, graph paper, grid paper. So, I mean, you can use lower grades if you're just trying to make some kind of, graph or form or box, histogram, something like that. And it comes up here, and what we can do, here's the graph paper, all this kind of stuff. They can do different things, put text on it, type things, maybe points A, however you want to do that. Let's see what else we got here. Graph points, if you're trying to make a shape or talk about, I use this with kind of translations. Towards the end, I had kids said, okay, if you have the 0.65, get on here and plot where the new point would be, move left 5 spaces, down 2. And they would graph this, and then they could take a picture of it and put that on Padlet, so that way you had a way to look at and see how the things developed. They also have different tools here. You got lines, so for like graphing assignments, so you can draw lines, but this all can be done online through this website called PDF Filler, so that way they can demonstrate their learning. They don't have to have graph paper physically in front of them. They can do it on the website. All right, and everything can be done by the website. And once you hit done, processes it, and you have different options that you can send it to them. They can send it to you as a PDF, they can send it to you as a Word, Excel file, all of these different ways to send the finished product to you. And that would be one way for kids, especially with graphing. I know graph paper, especially during the quarantine, kids didn't have graph paper. Well, this was an instant way to have graph paper. Obviously, you have to have an internet connection, but another way that they can show their knowledge, or you could set it up for quizzes or tests or something like that to turn in. All right, but this is online graph paper form. So lots of different options with that. They can design, histograms, line graphs, bar graphs, anything like that with different types of forms that they have available there. All right, moving on. Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a little bit more involved because it's more about videos. And here we go. I'll show you how Flipgrid works. We can watch this little short video about that. And I'll turn the volume up. Alright, so what that is essentially Flipgrid focuses more on the video aspect of this, so students can submit videos of their understandings, maybe having a discussion, videos, and you can post and comment on them about your discussion. Just a different way for kids to show their understanding, be a little creative, maybe show a demonstration of something, but it's very mobile friendly. I think there's an app for it that works pretty well too. And they can upload directly from their mobile devices. So just something a little bit different that gives you a different way of kids showing their understanding of a math topic. Now this one's a little bit more at Eastern, and I don't know what you have in your school, but I started looking like math all around us, and one of the things that we had installed was these water bottle fillers. And the other day beginning of the year, I was noticed that they had a bottle saved counter on them, and I've been taking a picture of them every day just to, get an idea of like what's happening. How many bottles are we saving? Is there an average? And there's a math problem here, and you can kind of level that depending on what grade you're looking at. We might look at it and say, what's the common rate of change with 8th grade? I mean, you could do even more. You could take it much higher. You could take it lower with younger grades and do bar graphs, line graphs. Just try to, get them understand like what's happening here with these bottles. How many bottles are we saving? How much money is that are we saving? How much by not having to buy a bottle of water every day or refill our bottles? Are we saving money? Just a whole lot of stuff that we can do with just a bottle saved number on the bottle filler. And it's not even something that so a lot of the kids, I was like, did anybody notice this? And a lot of kids don't even pay attention to it and say, oh my goodness. And now I've got kids that come to me, like, hey, did you see it says this or it says that now? And it said this morning and now it's here today. And just how intrigued they are to see what's happening with these numbers. Maybe one day they saw a big jump and they're like, well, what do you think it was the reason that day? Was it hotter? Was it hot outside? Did we go outside? What's going on? Just how this little machine that you wouldn't pay any attention to suddenly has driven us into a really deep math conversation. So just looking for things like that where, and that get the kids to start noticing some of the stuff that it is really all around us. All right, next one, bring up is quizzes. It's a lot like a Kahoot. The kids like it because it moves at their own pace. And if I click on this link right here, it moves on their own pace. Obviously, it's set up for distance learning. Of course, everybody says their thing is for distance learning because that's kind of where we are right now. And it's very user-friendly. Make your own quizzes. It grades them for you. It tells the class average. So if we check out this video real quick.
Quizzes helps teachers save time. Here's how it works. First, create a new quiz, or mix and match millions of teacher-created questions. Next, students play at their own pace. In class or at home, every learner competes to improve, and retakes are a cinch. While students play, Quizzes handles the grading. Instantly, you see what each student has mastered, know where they can improve, and share their progress with tools like Google Classroom. Find a quiz now. It's free.
All right, so one of the benefits is that it moves at their own pace. The games like Kahoot, you obviously move at the pace of the game, where this one, the kids are all over the place. Kids that take longer, need longer. I like that. It's also a great tool that integrates with Google Classroom pretty nice. It points out what questions they're struggling on. It always has that at the end. And then kids like it because it throws in like random memes that they enjoy in between it. So something a little bit more engaging. Obviously, Kahoot's kind of the king of all this, this interactive gameplay, but it's nice to switch it up with something a little bit different every now and then. Also free. All right, moving next, we have Miro, or Miro. I say Miro, but maybe I'm wrong. And what this is a collaborative online whiteboard. It's a chance for kids to interact with you with just like having a whiteboard on the computer, except every kid has access to that whiteboard. So this way, with your social distancing and things like that, it might be hard for kids to come up to the board, but what they can do is they can log into this and they all have access to the whiteboard. So I have a smart projector or a projector screen, and this lets them write on the board without being at the board. So if you're more stationed at your desks and you still want kids to participate and put ideas up and everything, this is a pretty cool process to do that. Moving on. Classroom screen, I shared this one last year, but I like it so much that maybe somebody's new here hasn't seen Classroom screen. But Classroom screen is pretty cool because it gives you lots of different options of things that you can do in the classroom. For example, with things like if you have a QR code or there's a website you want the kids to go to, you can put that QR code up, it takes them right to that website. You have timers right there. You have steps for things that they need to do. You have, if you use the stoplight method, green, yellow, reds. There's clocks up here. One of the things I do like, and it's kind of hidden behind this hourglass timer, is you can put the digital time with the analog time. And a lot of kids who have trouble reading clocks, that's a great tool so they can kind of see, okay, if it's 12:16, what does that look like in the analog version? This is also free, so if I go to this website, they've improved it quite a bit. And so if I load up the actual classroom screen, the actual app looks like this, maybe. So here we are. So what we have is we have lots of different things we can throw on there. Now if you sign up, you pay, you can use your own black backgrounds, but I mean, that's not a big deal to me. So I got different photos, animations, stuff like that. So I'm just going to use the standard background. Well, I got a bird. You got dice, so 2 dice if that's something that you use for probability or any kind of gameplay. QR codes if you got a website you want them to go to. Work symbols, so if you want silence, whisper, work together, things like that. That's kind of cool. The traffic light if that's kind of your thing. But anyway, they all come up here. Stopwatches, so you can just take them off or you can add them if you want multiples if that's your thing. Calendar. Let's see what else we have here. Clocks. So you got the clock with the digital and the analog. So obviously right now it looks like I got it. Okay, there we go. So I switched it back from the 24-hour to the 12-hour clock. So kids can kind of see, okay, that's what 5:38 looks like. 5:38 p.m. 5:38 p.m. That's what it looks like on the clock. Lots of different things to play with. It's fun, but it's a nice screen to have up when kids are working so they can have a visual of what's actually happening, and you don't have to create all that stuff. You don't have to have the stoplights or make that stuff for your room. So very useful, all free. A lot of use out of classroomscreen.com. All right, moving on. mathtv.com. And what this is a website that puts together a lot of free math videos. So it's just another resource for kids to have of all kinds of topics with videos just ready to play. Different people, because sometimes it's nice to get a different voice in the room, or maybe they hear something different. So.
All right, in this example, we want to graph the following ordered pair. So the first thing that I'm going to do is draw a coordinate system. Try to keep your lines as straight as possible, but no, it's perfect. Alright, so this is the x direction and this is the y direction. And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw two notches just for reference.
Alright, so that's what that is. It's specifically focused on math, so they're not wading through the mess that YouTube can be with math topics. So, it's all kind of reviewed. Obviously I have Spanish if that's something that you need, and all free. So it's just a great resource. So like right here, Netflix of online learning. Well, I don't know if it's great as Netflix, but still pretty useful. So mathtv.com. Teacher Tools, Super Teacher Tools, .us. This website has access to a lot of games that you can make. Maybe you want to make a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game, create your own game, so I'm going to try a demo game here. So what is 2 plus 2? You're starting at question 100, so if that's 4, click on it, is this your final answer? Alright, yes, ready for the next question. So I climbed up the leaderboard. But it's stuff that's already made. It has, you have your lifelines, you got your phone of friends. It's already made, so that's the first day of the week. Sunday. Final answer, yes. Got it. See what's next. So what's capital New Jersey? Okay, if I go 50-50, well, see, there we go. Maybe I call it phone a friend, so the audience wins. So it's already set up in there, and it's good to go. So I got choice A, choice B, choice C, and choice D. So choice C looks like it's an overwhelming one. And yeah, so fun. You can set up your own, just something a little bit different that kids can play. I know we do Jeopardy a lot. We're I play a game called Press Your Luck, but this is another one just to switch it up a little bit and try something different. All right, moving on to the next one, 13.org, Get the Math. This website's kind of out of date, but a lot of the stuff is still there. This is a great one for the question, where am I going to use this when I grow up? And obviously it doesn't answer everything, but there's different places that say, okay, this is how we use it in basketball, special effects, video games, fashion, music, restaurants, and there's a few others in there. And that's some challenges, just to make math a little bit more real and get kids, thinking mathematically that it does still exist once you grow up. So just make it a little bit more real, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. All right, the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives. This is a great resource, especially if there is virtual, as well as because, if we're in this whole sterilization and everything, so that means every time you use something, you gotta clean it and all that good stuff. So if might be something where you want to use this, and they could do it all through a computer. Doesn't have everything manipulative, but it has a lot. So stuff, and you can just click on it, and you can play around in there and see what happens. So transformation, dilations. Let's just check this one out here. Okay, so obviously I need Java, so just might be something you're aware of. It worked on my home computer, didn't work on my school one. So turtle geometry, looks like they're all still not working, so it looks like I need to update my Java for my computer. So if you do that, it should work fine for you. There's a lot of stuff here, and most of it's just playing around, clicking on it, and seeing if it's something that you want to use. But in the end of the day, it's like, how are we asking questions to the kids? Are we asking the right questions? Are we making them think? Because it's not so much about solving the right answer. It's about, are we thinking mathematically? What does this make you wonder about? What do you notice? What's your estimate? I think that's a skill that we've kind of gotten away from in a lot of places, because we've become so focused on get the right answer. Because what's your estimate? We use estimation so much that we often take it for granted. And I think a lot of it has gone, we always think, oh, we need to estimate our bill. Well, a lot of that's come out with uses like credit cards, because usually when I walk up there, they tell me how much it is, and I hand them my card. I'm not thinking in my head, oh, yes, I need to only have this much money. But, getting kids to think, where should this answer be? Because, if we're using the calculator and we get an answer, well, that's the answer because that's what the calculator said. Not thinking, well, does that make sense for the thing I'm looking for? And then what other questions can you ask to say, how can I get closer with my estimate? Or, do I have all my information? What else do I need? So this idea that we want kids thinking mathematically. Because this whole idea of, our mindset, how are we generating this mindset in the classroom? This beginning ideas, the mindset, the brain and belief messages are never given or only to some students. We want to get kids believing that I know you can do this. You can do this. This growth mindset idea that, it might be challenged, but we're praising effort, ideas, and strategies. We're not praising just who got the right answer. We're looking for, I like your thinking. Tell me about your thinking. Why did you try that strategy? And we want kids to move into that realm of, not that it's okay to be wrong, but this idea of like, it's okay to attempt. I want to try. This is going to be hard, and I may not get the right answer the first time, but I'm getting there. I'm working towards it. Every time that I fail, I learn the pathway a little bit better. I understand that that's not the route I want to go. I want to try something a little bit different because I want to get to obviously the right answer is important, but how do we get there? How are we encouraging kids to get there? Are we focusing on the process? And I always tell kids when they come up to me and ask me if the answer's right, I say, show me your process. And they said, well, this is what I did. And I said, well, if what you did Was the process is correct? If your strategy is working, is it makes sense? Is it flowing through? Do you have all your methodology correct? Well, the answer is going to be there. And it's not so much about what'd you get for your answer, it's what'd you do. Because that's the critical part. You know, we want the kids thinking about what they do, not the focus on the I got it right, I got it wrong. It's my strategy, I created one, I refined it. You know, if I didn't get the right answer, where could I improve? All right, and how do we get to that with the students? You know, what are we doing as teachers to get them with this confidence that says, I believe I can get this right. You know, I can learn the process and do this. And towards the end here, I want to finish up with this video. And this idea that I saw this video this past summer, and it really resonated with me, is like this idea of my bags being packed. So we're going to check out this video. And this Jim Valvano, who was a coach at NC State, North Carolina State, and he's talking about his father.
Rocco's out there. I have no problems telling you, and maybe it's my family. He talked about family. It means so much. I have no problem. I can look at anybody and tell you, I love my mother, I love my father. I have no problem saying it to you. I have no problem saying it. Never had a problem. I understand the statement that sometimes the people you think you know the least, and that wasn't the case with me. My father was the single most important, influential person in my life. He never made a lot of money, but I think he's the richest man I ever knew. He never had a position of real importance, and yet he influenced more people than anyone else that I know. My father, Rocco Valvano. Let me tell you. So let me tell you. You have to share. So when I got this job, my first job, I said to my pop, I said, "What is great, Dad?" And he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "We're going to win national championship." He said, "I'll be there." I said, "It's hard to do that." He said, "I'll be there." Right now, it took me 8 years of work before I even made the tournament. That was my dream to win. 8 years. First year I made it, coaching at Iona. I called up home, my dad, mom, New York. I said, "We made it. We got a bid." So we celebrated the way Italians celebrate. We eat. You know, it was on a Sunday. We eat. Right? We started at 2 o'clock. We finished midnight, half time, about 6 o'clock. You know? My father calls me upstairs in his bedroom, which I've never been in my father's bedroom, you know? And he calls me up and he says, "It's a suitcase." And remember I told you my family's from. My father's never left New York. My father thinks everything north of the George Washington Bridge is Canada. Right? You understand it? You know what I'm saying? Right? My father, we live in a neighborhood with the Familaris, the Pisametes, the Kifas, the Papolas. My wife is the first fair-skinned person that I ever met. That's the truth. Brought her home, my father said, "We're not sure what it is, but let's keep it." You know, he said, you know? So, you see what I'm talking about? This man, this old guy. "Oh, you got the suitcase. What's that for?" He said, "I'm going to be there when you win national championship. My bags are packed." I said, "Pop, it's hard. Where are you going?" We lost the first round. The next year, same thing. We lost the second round. He said, "You're gaining." I moved to North Carolina. We made the tournament. I called him. It became a phrase, a catchphrase. My father said, "My bags are packed for you. My suitcase is packed for you." And we lost, and we kept losing. Well, the year we won, 1983, I had a great picture of my father and I on center court in Albuquerque, New Mexico, hugging. And my brother gave it to me and said, "Like father, like son." It's the most important gift that I have from my brother. That picture, I know I'm not half the man my father is, but just that he knew what compliment that really means. That night we celebrated. I said, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "We'll do it again." He said, "I'll be there." I said, "I know you will." And the next year we made the tournament, called our bags and packed, we lost. Next year we made it, we lost. We lost in the dual finals. After the game I called up, we lost to St. John's in Denver, Colorado. I called my pop, he said, "What a great game I saw." "Oh, you won. Next year you made it." Then I flew home that night. He was one of those people who, after I spoke to him, I always felt better than before. One of those, maybe you know something like that. After you talk to them, you feel better than you did before you went in, right? Maybe you know something. Well, now, I get home that night, 2 years ago. This is what made me think about it. I got home, my house in North Carolina, a lot of people there. Hey, what's the matter? He called me in 2 years ago, April. My father had a heart attack. He died. And I lost my best friend, the whole world. This is not a sad story, it's a happy story. But I was knocked for a loop. Those of you who've lost a loved one know what that's like. This is my first time in my life. I didn't know how to handle it. And I was missing. I couldn't understand what it was I was missing. A lot of people lose, people they love and maybe handle it a little better. Not nothing. I didn't see him all the time, and I was traveling a lot. Right? And then it hit me. What it was he gave me. I call it that. The gift my father gave me. I think it's the strongest and most powerful gift I've ever received. And
And it's a gift I find we don't like to give to each other, both in our business and our personal life. I spent 2 years trying to give this gift to other people. The gift my father gave me every day of my life was he believed. My father believed in me. He believed in me when I failed. He believed in me when I wasn't as fine a son, friend, husband, father as I could be. That's I've done all that. But he's the one person who, when I didn't measure up to my standard or someone else's standard, he'd look me in the eye and he'd say, "You're going to make it. I know you are. My bags are packed. You're going to make it." And it's the greatest thing. And I said to myself, how many people do I give that to? My own place. And how often when I make mistakes am I critical? But never, ever look in the eye and say, "Son, you'll make it. I know you will. I know you can. I believe it." How many people who I work with do that? How many people who I work for do that? Oh, it's an incredible gift, and I've worked 2 years now to add it to my personal philosophy. I like to remember where I started. I know where I am, and I know where I'm going, and I know I'm going to get there. I'm going to be excited and enthusiastic every day that God gives me on this earth. I am going to dream my dream. I'm going to work, not harder than anybody else, as hard as everyone, and accept the failures, right? And I'm going to laugh a little bit and believe in the people I work with, the people who work for me, and the people I work for. And there's nothing going to stop me from cutting down the nets in my second national championship. And when I do, I'm going to sprint out on the floor. You'll know why, and I'm sprinting out. You'll know that. And I'm going to look up, and I'm going to say, "Pop, this one's for you." And I know he's up there elbowing someone. I know it's not a referee. It's going to be somebody else, right? He's elbowing someone saying, "That's my son. I knew he was going to do it." And bags were always packed. I ask you to have your bags packed to share in the successes of others. To not only have your bags packed to share, but be able to believe in the people you work with. You can fill each day, I think, with that kind of belief, and enthusiasm, and a dream, a work ethic, a little effort. I can't imagine us all not having a chance of cutting the nets down 52 years in a row.
All right, so, this idea of my bags are packed, how are we showing our students that our bags are packed? And, it's just something to think about, every single day of saying, I know you're going to get there. And just being there, especially with everything going on and stuff like that, it's just, we kind of are the normalcy that some kids have in their lives. And we need to be the kind of people that show the kids our bags are packed. If you haven't said that, I think we've all been there. So when you're trying to have a conversation with another adult and your class is behind you, like, yep, been there, done that. So anyway, to kind of finish up, what's your challenge? What's your success? I created a Google Classroom. I used my private email, and you'll need to use a Google email, because our school email addresses won't let us join other Google Classrooms. And I'd like to make something for the Brown County math teachers to be a part of, because places share ideas all throughout the year, and I know that this is just one time a year we all kind of see each other, and obviously this year we're not actually seeing anybody. And I think this would be a great place to try to get a community going where we can share ideas, share thoughts, share successes, share failures, and bounce ideas off of people and say, hey, anybody got a good idea for slope, or anybody got a good idea for a topic for fractions or something, we can talk. And I made this Google Classroom, and I thought, okay, this is a great idea, and you could give me any Google code in the history, and that's the one it gave me. And I figured, you know what, I'm a middle school teacher, there it is. So enjoy that Google code, and let's have a good laugh about it. So yeah, so it's got to be a private Google email address, but love to see you there. That's where I'll put the links to all of these websites, and hope to get a conversation going. Just to kind of finish out, if you want to have some fun today, I've got a Halloween Kahoot out there. I put the link to it on the Google Classroom, or you can use the code here and just you know, it's a little Halloween trivia since we're that time of year. And I like to always finish up, since this is a Friday, in my class every Friday we have a Bad Joke Friday. So to finish up this session, what's a witch's favorite subject in school? Well, it is spelling. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Once again, my email is scott.cropper@elsd.us. If you have any questions, comments, you know, join the Google Classroom. You can ask it through there. You can ask anybody. But I thank you for joining my session, and hopefully next year, this is face-to-face, because it's kind of weird just talking to the computer screen. So have a great day, everybody. Happy Halloween, and see you all later.